It's been a minute, y'all, right? It has been a minute, a couple weeks now since I've recorded and posted content. It's August, the month of August. It's my birthday month, my daughter's birthday month. It's Lionsgate portal, big Leo energy, full moon energy. So I've been taking time to like restore, rest, chill, celebrate myself, love on my girls. And I'm grateful. I'm so grateful that I get to live this life. And I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for all of our new subscribers, our comments. I'm sincerely appreciative. So it's the weekend. My kids are home. Our dada's here cleaning. So you're going to hear a lot of like background noise. So just bear with me, y'all. I want to get into, things that I'm doing now that I'm African. Now that I'm here in Africa, there are things that I do that I didn't used to do. And I was able to reflect as I celebrated my birthday on this new year and like look at where I was a year ago and just how far I've come and how much gratitude I feel. So I want to share in this video the things that I'm doing now that I'm African. Yes, y'all, yes. So if you're new here, my name is Ashley. On my channel, Ashley in Africa, I talk about my experience moving, living, and doing business here on the continent of Africa. If you're not new, welcome. Welcome back to all the subscribers, to the people that view this channel that don't subscribe. Like, come on and just join the family, join us, join this community, support the channel just through your subscription and your likes and your comments. I sincerely appreciate it. So first things first, I just want to talk about it. As I look over at my neighbor's compound, they're burning something. It doesn't smell like trash, so I think they're doing like barbecue, which is great. It's a beautiful day outside to barbecue. But that's one of the things that I still have not gotten used to is like the burning of the trash. But that's not what we're talking about in this video. We're talking about things that I'm doing now that I've noticed growth in myself. And the first thing is like the power outages. So power outages do happen here in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. They don't happen as frequently as many people may think. I mean, possibly like once or twice a month, that it happens for extensive periods of time, like meaning like more than like a couple of hours. So it happened earlier this week, and I noticed just how I kept flowing, right? Like in the US, or even when I first got here, to have the power go out, like everybody sits around with like flashlights and just kind of sits still. And this time when it happened a couple days ago, I just kind of continued on my day. You know, I keep my devices charged. I, do that now because I know better. My internet still works when the power goes out, so I kept working. I cooked, I cleaned, I bathed, I did all of the things, and I just was able to like sit and look like, wow, yeah, I'm African. Like I've adapted, I've adjusted to it, right? So knowing how to function in the midst of the inconvenience is like something that I noticed, like, yeah, I can do this now. The next thing is, and a huge one, I notice now how intentional and frequently I greet my elders. Like, it is a normal practice. It is expected. So if I am walking somewhere and I see an elder, I greet them with humility, grace, love, admiration, adoration, right? Like I, kind of bow my head and show gratitude. And this is just not something that is done anymore in the West, or specifically in America. And when I noticed that I began to do it, it made me so sad. It made me sad because it wasn't that I felt like I was disrespecting my elders ever, but I had developed this like, just, that's my grandfather, that's an elder, and they're just an older person. But like the way in which I operate now in the presence of elders has such a level of elevated respect that has never been the case before. And my ability to teach that to the girls in an environment where that is expected is something that I'm very grateful that I'm able to experience now and able to learn and share with them. So that's something that I'm doing now that I'm so grateful that I've taken that on, because I will one day be an elder. We'll all get older and we'll want the reverence that we are giving to them now. Like, we'll expect that because with age comes wisdom. And regardless of who you are, what you've done, where you've been, the fact that you are an elder today's world, you deserve that reverence and respect. So that's something that I'm really grateful that I've picked up on and have shifted, in my day-to-day. The next thing is I negotiate everything now. Like, give me a price, I'm cutting it in half. Everything. Everything. And so that is the way of trade here in Tanzania. So it is expected. And coming from a place like the US, especially when you're dealing with Black folks, right? When you're dealing with someone, I always just paid someone what they asked. Always. And I get that there is there's economic disparity that we deal with in the US, but all of these conversations that would go on, like, oh, so-and-so wants the best price, they always want to, cut the price. Well, come to find out, that's cultural, y'all. Like, on this continent, everywhere you go as an African person, trade is negotiated. It's a part of it. It is a banter. It's something that the people really enjoy and expect. So when you don't do it, it's kind of like, the expectation is that you will engage in that type of communication or strategic technique to get the best price for yourself and your family. So I negotiate everything. And I love that because it shows how I am adapting and kind of creating a relationship in the process with the person that is giving me a service or product. And that's really what it boils down to. People think that when you're making a purchase, you're just making a purchase, right? It's very transactional. And that is the way of capitalism. That's the way of US commerce, transactional. But here on the continent, it's about relationships. It's a very relationship Ubuntu culture. Like, we're connected. So when you're engaging in that communication and that commerce, it's like you're developing a relationship through the negotiation, through, the bartering. And so that's what I do now. I'm African, y'all. So the next thing is exploring more about African history, and spirituality. So it is something that I'm just so grateful for, y'all, because if you're from the US, we don't learn anything about African history or spirituality. We know about what we've been given, what we've been told to believe, what we've been told to understand. And there's so much more than that. There's so much more than that. And even here, I can tell that there are certain books that have been banned. I had a friend who was telling me he was reading a book about, a famous, what would you call him? Like a freedom fighter, just for lack of a better word. And the book was banned in Tanzania. And so I asked him to read it to me because it's in Swahili. And, he was just like, that's so interesting that you want to know about this stuff. And yeah, I'm fascinated because it's like, I never liked history in school, like ever. It was probably my worst performing class. Like, I hated it. And it's possibly because I was being taught some European nonsense that I just didn't feel connected to. Hindsight, it's important to understand everyone's history because, if you don't know where you've been, you don't know where you're going, and history does repeat itself. But I do believe that the history that they teach in our schools is the history they want us to know, which oftentimes isn't even real. I mean, we see what they're doing now with other things, right? So, yes, me learning African history, the history of East Africa, the history of South Africa, it's thrilling. It is exhilarating. It's frustrating. It's very emotional. It's very emotional, but I love it, and I'm grateful that I am getting this experience to really learn and be in that value system that I have of just being a constant avid learner. I'm getting to do that. And on the forms of spirituality, wow, like I think I'm getting emotional because last year I went to a healing retreat, and that retreat was the first time I had ever really been introduced to African spirituality. Like, I was familiar with the concept of it, and it was the major reason why I began asking so many questions and really pulling back from the actual, practices of Christianity. But acknowledging that there is a higher power, a creator, the ultimate spiritual being, that the Bible is comprised of stories from prophets that may or may have not looked like you and I mean, I'm still uncovering what I believe about these institutional organizations of religion, as the call of prayer sounds. But ultimately, being exposed to African spirituality in the sense of moon work and ancestral acknowledgement, recognition, and gratitude, the nature, working with the sun, the water, the earth, fire, like these are all things that originated from Africa. So I'm a novice. I am a fetus when it comes to really understanding African spirituality, but the experience of exploring this ancient, abundant spiritual work has been beautiful, and I feel more African in the process. Like I feel more connected with this land and doing that work and doing that exploration of its history and its spirituality and its culture. So yeah, that's what I'm doing now, right? And respecting and acknowledging the religious work of Christianity and Islam here on the continent. But it's different. Christianity looks so different here, and it's not something that I can really explain, I think, without getting critical. So I'd rather not do that, right? But I'll say that my experience has further questioned that structural institution, and allowed me and invited me into the space to do this exploratory work on continental spirituality, and I'm grateful. And the last thing is, I speak Swahili. Ongera Kiswahili. Yes, I'm doing so much better. I'm getting so much better with my greetings and my directions and foods. So I'm not gonna do it now because I don't have anybody to talk to me. But I'm like getting really good with Swahili, and my girls are getting really good, and I'm speaking and I'm really trying. And even sometimes people are like, just speak English. But I'm speaking Swahili, and it's feeling great. Wow, you look beautiful.
I need to wear a dress, Mommy.
Okay, you can wear a dress.
Can I have the dress?
Sure. So that's that, y'all. That is the video. These are the things that I'm doing now, that I'm acknowledging, like, oh wow, I'm doing this. And it's great, and I love it, and I'm grateful. And I'm grateful to you, to all of the subscribers. If you resonated with this, please be sure to like this video, give me a comment, and let me know, some of the concerns you may have, or some of the things that I've spoken about that may, arise some question. I'd love to hear. I look at all the comments, do my best to respond to all of them, and I'm grateful for you. So if you have an interest in moving to the continent, your family to the continent, expanding your business here, I'd love to connect with you. Please feel free to connect with me by the link below in the bio, and I'd love to support you on your journey. Until the next time, see you in the next video.